Alright guys, well, going to be changing this to the AXIS display. So I went ahead and went through each one of these and took a screenshot of all the settings, but I think the easiest thing, what I heard to do, was to go to your config files, hit menu, and then say export configuration. It'll ask you if you want to save, and then it'll save a GCB file. You'll probably want to do that before you disconnect all your systems and struggle to figure out what you had in there. So hopefully that speeds things up whenever you put your AXIS system together. All right, so I pulled out the G3X, and of course I'll be disconnecting the connectors here and trying to trace back where the config module is and do pinning that as well. All right, so now that your panel looks like a mess, you get your connectors out. We're going to be disassembling this guy right here because we have to get the config module out, as well as add a few pins for the high-speed data wire, as well as power. And then we have to get to the back of your navigator. I have the GNX 375, so get a long hex key, and this sticks in there, and basically you unscrew it out so that way you can get to the back of your connectors. All right, now I got it out, and just so you're aware, that is a 3/32 hex key, and you can just pull your navigator out. All right, now that you have your navigator out, you're going to unscrew that piece so you can get to your connectors. And one thing I will mention is you don't want to unscrew these screws all the way. You just want to loosen them, and this slides out nicely so you can get to the connectors there. All right, and the connector you're going to go after is the top one, the smaller one, P3752. All you do is just undo these screws right here, and it should slide right up. All right, so I removed the cover plate on the connector and the crossbar holding down the wires. Now I can get access to your pins. All right, now that you have that disconnected, you can pull this out and use your handy dandy magnifying glass. We're gonna look for pins 3 and 4 and 18 and 19 to connect the high-speed data wire into. All right, now I'm working on the connector that was in the back of the G3X. It can be plugged into the new AXIS. And here you'll see the little black thing in the top left. That's your config module. You'll have to unclip that and put in the new one. All right, now with that disconnected, you'll see that we have the config module right here. Just undo that, and you can undo that screw and replace it with the other one. All right, and here's the config module on the right is the one I took out, and here's the new one. Kind of cool that you can see the inside. It's clearer, but same connector, so you can just plug into the plug you have. All right, so I wanted to show you how to wire up the high-speed data cable. My harness unfortunately did not have it pre-wired, so I had to do one myself. I got this from the local Avionics shop on Fields. It's part number 392404. You can find other options in the Garmin Installation Manual for what you could use, but this is what was just available locally. So what you do is you strip the wires back. This side has the female D-subs, I think size 20. You wire on a shielding cable to grab onto the shielding for grounding. Here's just a view of what I stripped back, so about 1/8 of an inch for the D-sub. This side will have the high density pins, the male ones that go into the GNX 375. And I'll probably make this a little bit longer just to fit into the connector. Tools you'll need and parts, obviously a wire stripper, snipper. Here are the female D-sub pins. If you take a look at the part number here, this is what came in that Garmin upgrade pack. You need the crimper and the high density sizer, I guess. This is just one I had available. It's not the exact size, but you can find one in Steiner for about $38, and I think the high density sizer is about $10, so relatively economical. This is a really nice part to go into the shielding. There's the part number for you, and of course you just get one of the crimper tools there. So that's how you make it, and we'll look at the pin selection later. All right, back in the plane. I got my high-speed data wire all ready. As you can see, there's different colors on this thing. Just talked to Midwest panel builders and got the whole mapping. And we'll be putting them into the respective pins in here. And we'll see how it goes. All right, now you can see I got the male D-sub pins on this one. This will go into the GNX 375, and I'll figure out the pins for that one. You have to consult the manual for the exact pins for yours, but notice there's different colors for this, so there's a coordinating side for these two. Just make sure you know what you're doing from there. All right, I have the high-speed data wire connected to the GNX 375, put that back in. Now I'm going to be focusing on the power. I isolated the aircraft ground. I'm going to be splicing that, basically a butt connector here, and then putting a few pigtails off of that. Same for the power, because the AXIS display requires more power inputs. All right, almost there. So what I've done is taken the ground wire and done a pigtail. It requires 4 grounds, so I've done that, as well as 3 from the main power, and there's already 1 power coming from the IBBS battery, so I only need to do 3 pigtails for this one. So plug those into the corresponding pins here, and I think it's time for power up. All right, she's in. Moment of truth. Let's see how it goes. Whoop. I see it turning on. Nice. Oh, that's exciting. Ta-da! I think we're good. I think one thing to note, you do have to update your GNX 375 to work with the AXIS. There's a service bulletin out. And as far as setup goes, you can select it as PFD1, MFD, etc. And then of course, non-certified for experimental. Save and restart. And I'm currently doing the latest update for the GNX 375. All right, now the fun begins, and this is where I don't have much information yet, so I'm going to be digging through the manual and looking at stuff a bit, as well as my wiring diagram, but you have to manually re-add all of your devices and then program them based on which port they're on. So I select the GEA 24, and then you can select which port they're on. So take a look at your wiring diagram and it'll show that. But yeah, now I'm fiddling with this.